Many parents are waiting too long to talk to their children about sex. And by the time they finally do, the internet and other sources have started the conversation for them. I remember my daughter coming home from a school sex education lesson. She said the classroom blinds were shut and some of the students felt visibly uncomfortable. And this is grade 5. And honestly, that moment made me realize something important, that even in controlled environments like schools, this conversation may not always happen in the heaviest or safest way for every child, which means we parents cannot afford to stay silent anymore. Because if we don't guide our children first, the internet, social media, friends, or the worst, pornography eventually will. And today, I want us to talk honestly about when sex education should begin, what children actually need to learn at different stages of their life, how to make this conversation feel natural, not awkward, and the mistakes many parents make that silently shut children down emotionally. If you're new here, my name is Clara. I'm a mother of 2 preteens. And on this channel, we have honest conversation about raising emotionally healthy children in today's world. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about why this conversation matters. Children today are exposed to information earlier than ever before, and they get this through their phones, their social media, such as YouTube, TikTok, from their friends, games, and even school conversation. So the question is no longer, should we talk about sex education? The real question now is, who is teaching my child first? Because whether we like it or not, when we parents stay silent, our children still learn, just not always from the safe or healthy sources we wanted. And let's be honest, many of us grew up learning about sex through fear, shame, silence, or misinformation. I personally remember learning about sex education in secondary school. It was one of the most awkward lessons imaginable. We're told not to talk, not to laugh, not to even look at the person sitting beside us. And at home, the only education I received was, if you allow a boy to touch you, you will get pregnant. That was a conversation. But healthy sex education should be much deeper than fear. It should be one that builds wisdom, safety, confidence, and trust. The next thing we want to ask ourselves is, when should sex education start? A lot of parents think sex education should begin during teenage years, but healthy sex education should actually start much earlier than that. So the first age bracket is ages 2 to 5. It is at this stage we are not teaching sexuality, rather, we are teaching safety. Children should learn the correct body parts names, their privacy, body boundaries, safe versus unsafe touch, simple consent. We should teach them phrases like, your body belongs to you. Private parts stay covered. No one should ask you to keep touching secrets. And this conversation helps protect children from abuse and also teach them body confidence early. And honestly, many adults today struggle with boundaries because nobody taught them these things as children. Ages 6 to 9. This is the curiosity stage. Children begin asking questions like, where do babies come from? Why are bodies different? I remember this is also the age my children started noticing my menstrual cycle and asking questions about it. This is where many parents panic, but can't answer, build trust. At this stage, we can begin teaching basic reproduction, body changes, privacy, respect, internet safety. What we have to do is keep the answers short, truthful, and age appropriate. You do not need to explain everything at once. answer the question they asked. Because if children feel safe asking you simple, small questions now, they are far more likely to come to you with bigger questions later. The next stage is ages 10 to 13. This may be the most important stage of all because this is often the age where puberty starts, there's peer pressure, self-esteem becomes so fragile, and the internet starts shaping their identity. And many parents do not realize how early exposure happens now. Some children even encounter pornography. Some learn from friends. Some are already struggling silently with confusion, shame, pressure, or insecurity. So, parents, please do not assume my child is innocent. In today's world, exposure often comes before emotional maturity. And can I say something uncomfortable? Many children now see pornography even before their parents ever discuss puberty with them. At this stage, we need to discuss puberty, emotional changes, online dangers, peer pressure, consent, respect, and self-worth. This is the kind of honest parenting conversation you value. Please subscribe. Because many parents are trying to navigate this generation without enough support. And I believe that it takes a village to raise a child. The next stage we're going to talk about is ages 14 and above. We need to recognize that teenagers still need guidance, and silence is not maturity. Teenagers need conversation about healthy relationship, emotional consequence, values, boundaries, accountability, and decision making. As parents, our goal is not fear, creating fear within them. No, our goal is for is to help them to develop wisdom, confidence, and safety. So, how can we talk about sex without making it awkward? One, stay calm. Children learn from your reaction. If you panic, become angry, or act embarrassed, they may begin to associate shame with the topic. Secondly, don't wait for the big talk. Let this conversation happen naturally over time. There's a popular saying that children should be taught when we sit, when we eat, when we walk, whatever is everyday moments for us, we teach them. So, just natural opportunities like movie scenes, school discussions, puberty had, or even random questions. And remember, short conversations are often more powerful than long lectures. 3, want to use age-appropriate language. You do not need to explain everything at once. Please, educate progressively. As your child matures, the conversation can mature too. 4, think about more than just biology. Healthy sex education should also include things like consent, boundaries, emotional health, respect, online safety, and self-worth. Because it is not just about bodies, it is also about relationship, identity, confidence, and ability to make wise decisions. 5, please become the safe parents they need. The goal is for your child to think, I can talk to my parents about anything. And so children who feel emotionally safe at home are more likely to seek guidance before making risky decisions. Now let's talk about the mistakes that many parents make. These are some common mistakes parents should avoid. Waiting too long, using fear or shame, making the topic a taboo, assuming schools will teach our children everything, ignoring internet exposure, punishing children for asking basic questions. Please remember, curiosity is normal. Children should never feel ashamed for asking questions. And that safety often begins with us not acting weirdly, awkwardly ourselves. At the end of the day, sex education is not just really talking about sex. It is about protecting the trust that we have for our children and they have for us before the world damages it. It is about teaching our children boundaries, safety, self-worth, respect, confidence, and ability to make healthy decisions. And yet, this conversation may feel uncomfortable for us as parents, but silence also has consequences too. So, I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts. At what age do you believe this conversation should begin? Let's discuss respectfully in the comments. And if you want more honest conversation about raising emotionally healthy children and preteen, please subscribe because parenting these generations requires intention, not silence.